right, so welcome to Zero, which is this strange game from the 1990s. And everybody is a member of a far future society, which is heavily automated and mechanized. So everybody is fitted with mechanical parts to fit their role in society. And you have a function, you are a soldier, or you are a breeder, or you are some kind of other thing like that. And you have, you're all telepathic, and you are used to being in such constant telepathic communication that you have never thought for yourself. You may have had opinions and things, but they go out and communicate with others and come back, right? So this occurs in society in these rings, because in the middle is somebody named Zero. Then there are individuals named 1 through 9. Then there are individuals named 11 or 10 through 99. You see the point, right? So to find out your name, roll these and just put them in order at random. And so 6 10-sided dice. And those 6 numbers are your name. And they go
Can you
right here.
decide
Name.
where?
It doesn't matter. It means nothing. So you should just do it at random. It's more fun that way. Okay, 6. So the next thing to do is to choose what function your character has. So you are very low status. You belong to an enormous number of 6-digit individuals, and that doesn't mean they're the only ones you interact with, but you are very, very deep in the hierarchy of this large colony. And so we will decide what caste you want the character to be from, or what function you serve, effectively. There are archivists, and remember, all of you are biologically and mechanically altered to serve this function. So you are all pretty strange looking. So if you have to imagine it, imagine a little bit of an insect theme to the technological alteration. So there is the archivist, right? There is the breeder, who is more like a doctor, doesn't necessarily mean you personally breed. And the drone, who is more generalized and more of a laborer. Soldiers and technicians. So
we choose freely?
Choose freely.
I'm going to go for technician.
Okay.
Then I go for archivist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Okay. So we have a team with a technical job, and an archivist needs to be able to interpret the data that is discovered in order to do this job properly. So to transport an archivist, you need a little slow motorcycle, right? So lie the archivist down on it, and you get driven along, thinking about things. And then there is, your character is conscious and can connect, can communicate with everybody, but you're not expected to. Right. And then you have 2 soldiers with you. One is here, and then there's another soldier also accompanying the group of you. The drone is there to do anything that needs doing, right? Every little assignment has a drone around. And then, and in your case, you have to keep the archivist's machines working, and so this is the idea. Okay, so in the hive is, of course, the perfect place as far as all of you are concerned. The social and emotional tensions are easily and swiftly smoothed over because of everybody nearby, and your job is very clear to you at all times. And if you have reason for stress, then it goes away. And if you have ideas, then those ideas go out into the minds of everybody around you and get collectivized and processed through everyone else. And so everybody is fed, everybody seems to have all of their needs met. And the hive is mostly underground. It is mostly corridors and tunnels. Some of the tunnels are kind of rough and natural and have lights running along the top and supports, and other parts are like a building. And it all seems quite proper to you. And there are areas of the hive in which the natural areas are not automated. So there are areas that are less maintained. And some of those are not very well known. I mean, you really have to go into the archives to really understand, you know, where that tunnel goes. And so this particular job is to leave the more automated sections of the hive, go into the less automated sections, and indeed into some tunnels that none of you are familiar with at all. There are chambers there with devices and old data and technology that you are supposed to retrieve a record of and analyze. And so there are things that this task has filtered out into the hive from the collective will of the single digits. And so it has landed on your desks, effectively. Sooner or later it said, get a bunch of 6 digits to go do this, and the numbers came up and in you went. So the archivist has been unhooked from the main data banks and is now hooked into this, the local storage device on this little car. There is no Wi-Fi in the hive, incidentally. Mainly because the game was written in
Best reason ever.
I agree.
You two played Chaotic, and you will note there were no cell phones.
No, that's fine.
So
We have something better.
Oh, it worked perfect.
So, and also besides, you have telepathy and archivists and things. So but the point is, when you're hooked up to this little car with all of its little data banks and everything, you are not really all that hooked up to the main ones anymore. Yeah, it's kind of limited. So the soldier, you are accompanied by this other soldier who is 839. Oh, no, I already have him. Never mind. This 343990. So the two soldiers, this one has an infrared eye, right? And a built-in blaster, and has an unusual weapon, which is highly specialized. It has a special function. You recognize it, the others do not. It is a web gun. You fire nets at things. So you have no such special weapon. Nobody gave you one. So then your job is that once you have moved into these rougher areas, and you will actually be, there's a kind of crude elevator that takes you down, like a mining shaft kind of elevator that takes you down into this rough and sandy and pitch dark place. You will have to turn on, the lights on the car and maybe have some glow sticks, right, that you are using, and then you will have to navigate these tunnels. Your database has the map, but it's kind of a crappy map. You've realized you're going to have to interpret and not get lost because sometimes you have to say, well, this doesn't go this way, so I have to, alter what these data are telling me, and so it's a little, you're still mentally connected to the hive. That's fine. You're connected to the hive. Really, what could be wrong? You will proceed through the larger caverns where there are lots of workers and people doing their jobs and mining things, and it's all very hive-like. But soon you will swing out into tunnels that don't even have very good. There are parts where the little car can't go, and the drone and the soldiers actually have to lift up the car and get it over rocks and things like that. And it's really dark in there. So you are pretty far away from things at this point. If I look at my little map, perfect. Okay.
Clarification, already the parts where there still were workers and stuff were not really like the map I
no, that was fine.
They were.
You're right. That's working fine. It's only when you get off into this area. And at one point, I would like everyone to make a cleverness check. Nice.
Okay.
So you multiply them. So you have a 24, and your cleverness is untrained.
So that's fine.
Right, so, right. Okay.
So it's basically like, I don't know.
You look and see.
12.
Well, what you do first is you look at your cleverness, and there's nothing there. So you need to get a 3 or less after multiplying the dice. You got an 8. You multiply the dice, so you have an 8. And you didn't get a 3 or less. Now, so nobody was clever?
Very clever, no.
You all hear a strange noise through the tunnels. It is impossible to tell where it comes from or what in the world it could possibly be. It is not familiar to you. The archivist could, for example, try to hunt through memory to see.
That's what I'm planning.
Okay.
So that's a focus ability?
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
that's far better. 30?
30, and you have a 6. So the good news about that, if we just count up, right? 16, 26, not 36. So that's 1, 2, 3 levels of success. I required 2 levels of success on this. So, because that was actually kind of difficult, because you had to really dig into cross-reference data banks to figure this one out.
Yeah.
It is some kind of animal. There are animals here. There are non-hive animals. You know there are non-hive. You know there's ecology in this world. Somehow, you just never really contacted before. And you know that drones go out and get protein from the organisms and things like that to add to the protein banks, but you don't really know very much about them. The idea that they could be walking about and doing things and making strange noises, turns out there's a whole record about that sort of thing in the data bank somewhere that you have never in your life had any reason examine. So
But no.
they're walking around out there in auditory range. And at this point, there comes a drop off. You realize that you are probably not in the hive by any definition that you're used to. This is more like a natural area, but the drop off is fairly steep, and it will take some work to get the archivist down, as well as yourselves. So I would be interested to know who has any agility? Anybody? You do, right? So if you are agile and climb down and and you have mechanics, correct?
I do.
Yeah. So that means that if you two work together and get enough successes, then you can actually build enough of a device or enough of a framework for the car to be able to be passed down with everybody's help.
Telekinesis could not be an option.
Yes.
But trying to make it float.
Mm-hmm.
If you can hold it, I don't know.
The archivist, they're very small. Archivists are small. But it is a whole little kind of motorcycle.
Yeah, but it's
hospital bed motorcycle thing that they're on. So if we take a look at this and see what it says, and again, written by Americans, it uses a strange weight measure, which has no relationship to the mass of the Earth.
I don't have a problem with multiplication, but no. Now things are going to get weird.
Don't worry, I'm a scientist, so I am used to multiplying by 2.2 for all weights. Yeah. Pounds to kilograms.
That's distances.
Oh no.
Oh, it's distances, okay.
The worst thing is temperature.
Oh, temperature is worse, yeah.
Have you ever
Okay,
said this?
so here's how it works. When you can, okay, it's a little complex. We will see you can help by relieving the weight, but first you have to build this framework. If you just try to do it with your mind, you're